Good afternoon from State Adventures. I am here to walk you through this itinerary for Guatemala 2026. I thought it would be helpful to kind of understand what we're going to be doing, how we can tweak the trip in any way you need to make sure it fits the clients and fits the university's needs. So I'm sharing my screen. You'll be able to see the PDF that I shared already. And so let's go through it. This is a trip planned for minimum 12 students plus one teacher. And then I will also join the group to help guide the teacher and, assist with anything you need along the way. And of course, locally, we will have our private guide to join us for the duration of the trip and our driver to take us from place to place in a safe vehicle. So I planned the trip around the dates he provided, March 3rd for arrival. Everyone will need to fly into Guatemala City. It's the international airport. From there, we're going to pick up the students. Hopefully, we can arrive around the same time because the drive to Antigua is between 45 minutes to an hour. So it makes sense to arrive together. I think you mentioned everyone will be flying either from Providence or Boston. So we can look into those flights together if you'd like. And then we will be in Antigua for 3 nights and we will explore quite a lot. We'll take them to the hotel, check them in, and rest. Most flights arrive in the late afternoon. So Villa Colonial is one of these really traditional hotels, a little bit different from what we did this year. I'm going to do just double and triple rooms for the students. I think that works best. I need them to have a little bit space. Everyone will have a roommate. They will get to know each other, but we will also have access to a pool and access to some common areas and be together and make sure we have those meetings, go over their programs, and so on. Breakfast is always included, and that makes me touch on some of the other areas about the trip. If you look right underneath the each date, you will see breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Those are the meals that I've already included. Like on this trip, I'm not including all of the meals unless you ask me to do that, and then we can tweak it further. But for now, I included 1, sometimes 2 meals per day. So breakfast is always included, and then this is what we will do. March 4th, we're going to wake up, meet our private guide after breakfast, and see the best of Antigua. It's a great colonial city. I've actually went on a Johnson & Wales trip here for a summer ecotourism program, and we spent a lot of time in Antigua. So it's really great for students because it's very lively. It's surrounded by 3 volcanoes. It's quite beautiful visually. I think I put a photo here. This is the center of Antigua, one of the centers, because there's a main square as well. This is just off of the main square. Lots of history, lots of ruins, lots of colonial buildings. So the guide will show us the best of it. And we will then also have a lunch inside a local venue, like a little local restaurant, maybe a local kitchen, things like that. And after lunch, I'm going to have a free afternoon. Here we can discuss what we can do with the students, with the clients. Well, you're my clients. There is a lot that we can do for minimal cost. So because we already have our guide with us, we can maybe arrange a visit to a local school so that students can learn about education in Guatemala. We can take them to a local orphanage. We did that on our Johnson & Wales trip, and it was such a beautiful visit. I think it really opened eyes for the students on what the treatment of orphans is in Central America, how rough it is, and it inspired a lot of people to volunteer and things like that. So I think that would be wonderful. Of course, any visit that we do, State Adventures will do a donation of supplies, either for an orphanage or school or whatever it is that we're doing. Or we can do something educational for them, like a Spanish lesson, which is really important because for the rest of the trip, we're going to be in places that Spanish is the main language, and maybe we should give them a few tips and pointers on how to communicate. If we have a lot of hospitality students, we can go to one of the 5-star resorts around Antigua. There is a number of them, and I can arrange a proper hotel inspection if they decide to go into sales, into the hospitality industry. It is vital for them to understand what a hotel inspection looks like. So lots of options for this afternoon. We can discuss that further. And then on our 3rd day in Antigua, we're going to get active, and I'm going to take him to the Pacaya volcano. Pacaya is an active volcano. It's quite famous. You will hear about it on the news once in a while when it's actually exploding. It is not active right now, or at least not overly active. I've done this hike actually multiple times on my visits to Guatemala, and it's really great because you walk through a cloud forest with, it's lush and green. And then you get to the top and it's like barren, covered in lava. So it's a strenuous hike, but not anything that our group can't do. I know Johnson and Will students are quite active anyway. On top of the volcano, because the lava is there, we roast marshmallows for them. We can do a lot of fun things for them. I'm actually going to include a lunch for them on the volcano as well. So there's lots of fun things that they can enjoy here. And I think in the last version that I sent you, it was without lunch, but I am going to arrange lunch for them as well, because I think getting off the volcano, you're exhausted, you should have a meal right away. So they're going to have something traditional. Then go back to the hotel, refresh. And for dinner, we're going to go to a local woman who opens her kitchen similarly to what we did in Costa Rica, and we will cook with her. We will learn all about the traditions of Guatemala, which I feel like are ancient Mayan recipes, and we will have a wonderful cooking experience and dinner with her in her home. I think that is one of the most memorable experiences, not just for my clients, but for students as well. And then on day 4, we're going to travel between Antigua and Lake Atitlan. Lake Atitlan is the most famous lake in Central America. It's very spiritual. It's a holy site for the Mayans, and it is a place where indigenous communities live all around the shores. So it's a very important place to visit. Of course, there's water sports and all kinds of things on the lake as well. It's a retreat for people to go to relax as well. So there's a combination of all kinds of things happening on the lake, and it's a great place to include in this itinerary. Very educational because it's such a mix of things. So we're going to travel there. We're going to have lunch along the way, and then we're going to check into our hotel, Dos Mundos. So Dos Mundos is right in the village. And on Lake Atitlan, sometimes I put clients deep on the lake where we have to go by boat and they're in a remote place. But for students, I think it's really important that we're going to have a place where they can walk out and explore on their own. I believe this is the hotel we actually used when I traveled there 20 years ago with Johnson and Wales. So it's still there. And we can walk to Panajachel, which is a very sweet, safe village, very backpacker friendly. So they're going to have access to food, things like that, so that they can, enjoy a little bit of cultural experience there as well. And of course, we can arrange with the guide to go with them and make sure it's safe and somewhere where they can enjoy some local food. But this is just one picture of Lake Atitlan, and it truly is like that. It's quite magical. So then we're going to focus on seeing the best of Lake Atitlan, which is the indigenous communities, San Juan and Santiago. We're going to visit 2 different ones. So we will arrange a boat, the guides, the local guides as well. These are places where people speak not only some English, obviously Spanish, but also different dialects of Mayan. So it's just such a wonderful place to hear their stories, see their their temples to the Mayan gods, and it's just a great place to really learn about the Mayan culture, completely different than anywhere else in Central America. Guatemala really preserved the Mayan culture, and it's really important to incorporate that for students, and to know that just a few hour flight away from the United States is this magical place that has not changed in generations and hundreds of years. So we're going to do that. We'll have lunch on the lake, and then we'll bring them back to Panajachel, and then in the afternoon they can enjoy the village. They can enjoy going out to have dinner. They can have they can rent kayaks and go out on the water if they want. So there's plenty of opportunity. We can stick together. We can have different options for them. But the idea is that they get to learn about the lake itself. And then on our last full day, excuse me, we're going to go to one of the places that is my favorite place in Latin America, and that is Chichicastenango. It is the largest indigenous market in Central America. So special, so unique. It's very big. It's overwhelming, colors and lots of different languages being spoken. And right in the middle is a Catholic church, but inside the church is a Black Jesus because they try to make him look like an indigenous person. And, there's open fires where they're cooking their food, and there's indigenous people haggling with each other, but also with the tourists. For photography, it is one of my favorite places. You will see different communities come together, and you can identify them by the different designs on their shirts and the different hats that they wear. So such a great experience. I highly suggest that we include that in the itinerary, and that's why I put it in there. And because it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Lake Atitlan, instead of returning back to the lake, backtracking, we're actually going to have lunch and continue back to Guatemala City to be near the airport for our last night. So that is why that routing is like that. That is why we have that third night. And now Guatemala City, we're back to civilization. We're going to get them there by the evening, and that's on purpose. I don't want them hanging out in Guatemala City. I don't want them going out to nightclubs. So we're going to have a nice hotel that has a great restaurant inside and a pool, and they can relax and unwind, have dinner, on their own together inside the hotel. And then in the morning, because most flights leaving Guatemala are morning flights, we'll take them to the airport and we fly home. So that is our 7-night itinerary. That is why I've put this here and that there and chose those hotels and so on. So I hope this helps you understand the itinerary and understand, Guatemala a little bit more. Thank you so much for listening, and happy travels.